Good morning, everybody. It's another day in paradise in beautiful Las Vegas. A little bit windy this morning. Yeah, I was out early doing my workout. Hopefully you were too. Anyway, love this time of year in Vegas. We have lots of things going on. One of the things is that NAR just came out with their February pending home sales snapshot. And this, if you don't follow this with me, you should. You should. And I will put the link to this in the group, and also I will start putting it in the YouTube description as well. But for now, let's get into this. So the index says 83.2. So that is the index active 100 coincidences with a highest level of activity relative to 2000. I don't know what that means. Excuse me. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know what that means. We'll find out. Anyway, that's just a side that they put in there of how they get the index. It's 100. I think that says cities. No coincidence. I don't know what that means. So there you go. Anyway, let's look at what it says. It says, guess what? The South, 99.3%, which is a month over month increase of 7%. So when you look at the people that are moving to Florida, a lot of the Californians are moving to Florida. A lot of the New Yorkers are moving to Florida. Florida, I think, is the fastest growing state right now. So no big hidden fact there. If you go to the Northeast, month over month, they had a 6.5% increase. I'm amazed at that, but I think people go where the jobs are probably, and they've moved to the Northeast. That really amazes me. So you've got an increase, which means that there's sales. And when there's sales, there's people moving in, but there's people moving out. So pending home sales is tricky. When you go to the Midwest, you have a month over month increase of 4%. So when you look at these increases month over month, one of the things I think you need to take from this is that people are selling their homes. So if you think people aren't selling their homes, it's increasing, which is a good thing. Now, when you go to our part of the country, we are down 2.4%. So that is a huge percentage of being down in the West. And so people aren't moving. That's what that's saying. There's not as many pending sales this month as there were last month. So for whatever reason, people said they put the brakes on. They said, whoa, we're going to wait. And what's interesting is we have beautiful weather here. So it's not like they stopped for the weather, except maybe up here in in the Northwest. But in the California, Utah, Arizona, Nevada areas, in Colorado, well, Colorado does get a little cold, right? But anyway, so you would imagine that this would have increased, but it didn't. It went down. So I think that's something to glean over this. Now let's see what they have to say. So this came out just this morning, March 29th. That's today. And I'm going to put this infographic in the, like I said, in the feed for you. The pending home sales grew in February for the third consecutive month. So that's great. According to the National Association of Realtors, 3 regions posted monthly gains while the West declined, and all 4 regions saw year-over-year decreases in transactions. Now, it doesn't say that in the graphic. All 4 regions saw year-over-year decreases in transactions. Well, I mean, 2022 was not a bad year. So this year, I think we're getting more into a normal year before the pandemic. Those couple years before the pandemic, I think we're going to see more of that type of business here. The pending home sales index, it's a forward-looking indicator of home sales based on contract signings. Improved 0.8% to 83.2% in February. So Year over year, however, they dropped by 21%. An index of 100 is equal to the level of contract activity in 2001. That's what I couldn't see on that chart when I was trying to read it to you. Yeah, the index of 100 is equal to the level of contract activity in 2001. Wow, I wonder why they use that. Not sure, but I'm sure they have a reason. So after nearly a year, the housing sector's contraction is coming to an end. That's what Lawrence Yun said. Existing home sales, pending contracts, and new home construction pending contracts have turned the corner and climbed for the past 3 months. So that's good. That's good news. That's good news. Now what you have to go out and do and get listings, everybody, so we have homes to sell people. Exactly. Okay, next they have to say this. So when they break it down by region, you know, the Northeast raised 6.5% from last month to 72.5. That's their indicator based on 100 back in 2001. And that's a drop of 17% from February 2022. Okay, February last year was not a bad year. And the Midwest index improved 0.4% to 84.9% in February, a decline of 16.5% from 1 year ago. The South grew 0.7% to 99.3 in February, dropping 21% from the prior year. So if you look back at the prior year, I would think that that had to be over 100. No, maybe they average it. I don't know. I have to look into that. The West index decreased 2.4% in February to 64%. We shrank 28% from last February. Holy moly, 28%. Unbelievable. I guess we feel it in our pocketbooks, huh? The affordable U.S. regions, the Midwest and the South, are leading the recovery. That's what Young said. Mortgage rates have improved in recent weeks after federal government guaranteed the status of most mortgages amidst uncertainty in the financial market. Now, he just came out with this right yesterday, and he's saying that mortgage rates have improved in recent weeks because the federal government guaranteed the status of most mortgages amidst the uncertainty in the financial market. So one of the things that the Mortgage Bankers Association told us this morning is that mortgage applications have been going up this month, steadily going up. So that's a good thing. People are applying for mortgages. And that goes into what Young is saying as well. So while access to commercial mortgage loans could become increasingly difficult, residential mortgage loans are expected to be more readily available. Good news for these buyers out there, right? Good news. So let's move on here. So the pending home index is a leading indicator. We said that based on pending sales. Pending contracts are good early indicators of upcoming sales and closings. However, the amount of time between pending contracts and completed sales is not identical for all home sales. Now we know in Las Vegas, the average days on market, is around 30. And we normally get our deals done within a month. So ours are probably more in the 90% category of, 30 to 45 days. All right. So we're going to put this in in your feed. And here are the highlights. Pending home sales rose for the third consecutive month, up 8% from January. Month over month, contract signings increased in 3 U.S. regions, but declined in our region, the West. And pending home sales decreased in all 4 regions compared to a year ago. That's no surprise at all. Now, here's really some great news. If you're out there, whether you're doing buyers and or sellers, right? Doesn't matter. These are going to tell you the trends so that you know who the buyers are and you know who the sellers are. So I just gleaned a couple of clips from this report because let's see, I think it's usually almost 100 pages. And I'm going to put the report from NAR in the feed for you. And you can look at it yourself and glean what is important to the way, whatever your business model is. So let's look at some of the, I just got a couple of the slides here. So NAR's been doing this survey since 2013, and it provides insights, of course, across generations of home buyers and sellers. And again, they do an annual survey, and they call it the profile of home buyers and sellers, and they get a tremendous amount of people responding to this, and that's how they get their statistics. So age of home buyers and sellers. Now, this should be really important to you. The silent generation. Okay, those are people that were born from 1925 to 1945. Okay, and that is what we call the silent generation. So we're going to define this, and then we're going to show you who buys what. Then you have the younger boomers. Oops. Then you have the older boomers. That's 1946 to 1954. Whew. I got by. I'm not a silent person, right? I'm an older boomer. Yeah, so 1946 to 1954. So when they show you some of these charts, you're going to refer back to what age these people are. Now, the young boomers are 1955 to 1964. I didn't quite make that one. But anyway, Gen X is 1965 to 1979. And the older Gen Y, millennial and or millennials. Now, they call it Gen Y. I don't know why they just don't call it millennials, because we know them as millennials. That's 1980 to 1989. Then you jump down here to the younger millennials. I guess they break it up, that's why. 1990 to 1998, the younger millennials. And now we have Gen Z, and they were born 1999 to 2004. So let's see. Those are people who are buying homes. Okay. So these are the age of the buyers and the sellers. Let's see what they have next here. So now they're going to tell you by generation, which now you can flip back to that if you want to refresh your memory. And they tell you who's buying what. Now, the dark blue is the buyers and the light blue is the sellers. So you have Gen Xers, okay, 3 and 4% are the share of the buyers and sellers. Now, the Gen Y millennials, okay, you look at this. The buyers are 12%. And the sellers are 6%. And then you look at the older millennials, look at this, 16%. Now, if you add 16% and 12%, they're running a close second to the younger boomers who are buying. So that's a good statistic there for you all. In other words, this can help you when you're networking, or if you want to. I remember several years ago, they did have a class on how you. It might have been, it wasn't a designation, but it was a class on how you actually market to the millennials. And that was probably 5 or 6 years ago. And now look at, they've really jumped up into the market of share of buyers. Then you have the Gen Xers, 24%. Now, how old are the Gen Xers? Let's go back, refresh our memory. The Gen Xers are 1965 to 1979. Okay. So 35, 23, these are the Gen Xers, 40 to 50, right? Let me make sure I do my math right. 1979. So the youngest one would be 44. Yeah, in their 40s and 50s. So those are the Gen Xers. They make up a huge part of the market, right? And if you know that, I mean, Jimmy always says there's 5 Ds in why people buy or sell. Death, divorce, okay, diamonds, people get married, delocation, people relocate, and Jimmy, what is the 5th one? Diamonds, death, divorces, delocation. I can't remember what the 5th one is. Anybody out there? Oh, I'll think of it. Downsize. That's what it is. Yeah, people downsize. So those are the 5 Ds why people, buy or sell. So the younger boomers, wow, look at this. Look at this. The younger boomers, they're selling their homes. They're downsizing, right? And because they're probably not having children. The older boomers, same thing, a lot of downsizing. So when the older boomers, if you look at the sellers, 23%. are sellers. And when not all of them go and buy, which I think that's an interesting stat right here. Not all of them go and buy. They probably, maybe they rent, maybe they go move in with their kids. I don't know. And then the silent generation, those are the real older people. They make up 4% of the buyers, but 7% of the sellers. Now that's amazing to me because, I wouldn't think that the silent generation would be buying, but they are. So it's amazing when you look at this and you think of where are you farming? Are you farming the upper half? Or are you farming the lower half? Which part of this chart are you farming to? And just so you know, the statistics of how long people stay in their homes anymore used to be 7 years. It's moving up there. We've talked about this to 11 years to 12 years. So if you go into Remind, you can find people that might be ready to move. And if you if you pay for something like Ben Verified or some of these other demographic websites, you can find out how old these people are. And you can say, well, gee, I just found, 20 people to market to that look like they might be ready to sell their home because they're younger boomers. And the younger boomers, the interesting thing here is, again, more sellers than buyers as you get older. You might want to do the Gen Xers because there's more buyers than sellers. So these Gen Xers, they become younger boomers and they sell. So the line here is really interesting. But it can help you when you're farming and when you are talking to you can use some of these demographic sites, and so the age of the person that you're talking to. If you're cold calling, if you're circle prospecting, if you're holding open houses, and you kind of that this particular home community has which younger boomers, older boomers, silent generation. I mean, who are you marketing to? Because you need to brush up on your statistics. And if you look at this report, it'll tell you a lot of insight into these different generational stats. So here you go. The median age in the groups. So the silent generation hanging in there at 80. The older boomers, 71. The younger boomers, 63. The Gen Xers are 50, and the older millennials are 38, and the younger millennials are 29, and the Gen Zers are 18. So if I was, there's a lot of young people getting into real estate now, and if you're one of those younger people, you might want to market to the Gen Zers and the millennials, because you'll have clients for life, because they're going to move. They're going to have one of those 5 Ds. They're going to move. And if you keep in touch with them, you're building a business, right? What are you doing? People say, I don't know. Well, you're building a business. It's so important that you know what you're doing and that you have there's tactics, which are holding open houses, farming, but the whole strategy has to be your future. What is your future? Do you have a strategy? Are you farming? Do you understand that as time goes on, you want to follow these people where they're going and make sure that you stay in touch with them, because these buyers will become sellers and these sellers will become buyers. And if you pick a target, what we say the other day, niche is rich. You got to target your market and know it inside and out. And that's how you build a business. So then here's the household income of home buyers. This is interesting too. So this is broken down by age group. And, you probably, let's see, one of the bigger percentages here, let's see, 100,000. Yeah, you're 32 to 42 years of age are making the most money. So maybe you want to target those people and sell them, get them out of their medium price home and jump them into a more expensive home. Unless they're, 33 to 42, again, that's a broad age range where you probably have people having children, so they need to increase So the births, that has something to do with whether they move or not. And if they're making more money, they might want a bigger house, a newer house. So it's really important that you understand who you're marketing to. When we were training people, we used to say, if you don't know the market, it's like a shoe salesman not knowing what kind of inventory they have, what kind of shoes they have, or what are you selling? You have to know what you're selling, but also who you're selling to. And we have this, that's why this report is so invaluable. And this is the primary reason for purchasing a home. And so, of course, people all buyers, they want a home of their own. That's 22% of the market. They want a home of their own. And you can look down here: retirement, desire for a home in a better area, smaller home, larger home, changes in the family situation, marriage, birth of a child, or divorce, job-related relocation, desire to be closer to the job or a school, desire for a vacation home or an investment property, affordability of the home, establish a household, financial security, better weather conditions. People move into Vegas because of our weather. A lot of people from Arizona move here because it's not as hot. That always makes me smile. Desire for a better home for pets, bigger yard. Maybe they living in a condo and they want to buy a house. Would they have a yard? Purchased home for a family member or relative. We have a lot of those generational homes being built. Greater number of homes on the market for sale and a better choice. And that's at the bottom. That's at the bottom. It's not usually why people move. So first-time home buyers, everybody, make up 26% of all home buyers. And that's a decrease from 34% last year. Why? Because of the interest rates. Yes, there was more people that could afford to buy last year, but now the prices have gone down. So we'll see more first-time home buyers come into the market. We have more mortgage programs. And we don't really see, I think the consensus is from the economists and experts out there, most of them think that we might stay around 6% this year. I think I go with that train of thought. I don't see the rates going down much lower this year. But there are programs out there that can help people who need that extra couple $100 to push them over the edge so they can buy. And there's lots of programs out there. Baby boomers, both younger boomers and older boomers, made up the largest generation of home buyers at 39%. We were talking about that when we were looking at the chart. And then Gen Xers had the highest household income of any generation at $114,000 in 2022, followed by the older millennials with a median household income of $102,000. Now, I haven't looked at the numbers recently, but the average household income of Las Vegas was around $150,000. And that's two people, home buyers, that were each making $60,000 to $75,000 a year. So we have that going for us. But again, you have to watch the price of the homes. If they go up too high, we price people out of the market. We didn't when it was $485,000 median because the interest rates were 3%. But that, as we know, made a huge difference. Now the median price is down at $425,000. And even though the interest rate's a little higher, we still have some first-time home buyers that can buy, and households in Vegas that are making enough money to be able to purchase a home. And then there is the silent generation had the highest share of married couples at 68%. The highest percentage of single female buyers was among Gen Z at 31%. And the highest share of unmarried couples were the younger millennials at 20%. So a lot of numbers. 31% of all buyers had children under the age of 18 living at home. Well, that's a market because those are downsizers, right? 70% of older millennials had at least one child under the age of 18 residing in the home. 14% of home buyers purchased a multi-generational home to take care of and spend time with aging parents because children over the age of 18 were moving back and for cost savings. 18% of older boomers purchased a multi-generational home. Gen Xers comprise the second largest share at 17%. I should have just probably combined those two. The Gen Xers remain the most racially diverse group of buyers in 2022. So 23% of this group of buyers identified as Hispanic, Latino, Black, African American, or Asian Pacific Islanders. Interesting. That also could affect, who you market to, as far as if you're looking for buyers and or sellers, but buyers. So yes, 135 plus pages of in this home buyers and sellers generational trends report. Comes out every year, and it's just a wealth of information. And I went over it very quickly, and it probably too many numbers for you to really glean any tactical or strategic action to take. But I would look at this. I would print it out, or if you flip it on the screen, however you like to look at it. But because they have the characteristics of home buyers, the characteristics of home purchase, the home search process, home buying and real estate professionals, financing the home purchase, home sellers and their selling experience, home selling and real estate professionals methodology. Just so much information, and it just came out today. Obviously, I'm not as sharp as a tack on most of the things I was talking about, because I didn't have time myself to look at the details behind some of the charts and understand how people were thinking in these different age groups. And I would think that you would have to maybe pick one or two and go with that for your tactic and your strategy for the future. Again, if you're younger, you might want to look at just marketing to the younger people, the first three on the chart. Again, I'll repeat myself here, move over here. Like the Gen Zs, the younger millennials, and the older millennials, because these people here on the right-hand side of the chart, they're going to move to the middle and to the left, right? And so you've got people that are going to be buying and selling homes. You've got, this whole group right here, and and when you market to them and you stay with them, you can have years of business just from these three groups. So you need to think about things like that. And you could even include Gen X, but I think there's a different mindset here, I think, with the Gen X and the younger boomers and the older boomers. So you might want to pick this group, depending on how old you are. You might want to pick this group and talk to them about reverse mortgages as a topic for them to consider if they want to move or if they don't want to move. If they want to move, they can buy a home. They can sell that home and buy another home with a reverse mortgage. A lot of people don't know that. So there's a lot of information that you can share with this group of people who may want to downsize. Now the silent generation over here, that makes up the smallest amount, but and once they sell, they usually don't buy. What was it, 4% or something? Let's see. Go back here. Yeah, the silent generation, the buyers only 4%. The sellers are 7%. So a little bit more than half of them buy again. But just maybe those are the people who married a younger spouse. Who knows? And they want to move and buy again, but 4% is not a big number there. But if that's your only niche, could make you a very nice living. And again, I am going to put this in the group for us. A lot of good information here today. Too much to get too deep into. I know I was watching my friend Brian this morning. He comes on. Well, he's on the East Coast, so he comes on at 6:30. And he was going through some of these numbers, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is a lot of data. And I can only tell you that it's available and give you some of the high points of it and perhaps guide you to how you can use it in your building your business of real estate. I'm going to say toodaloo, and we have a contracts class coming up on Monday. You know, you need 2 contracts classes now, not just one. So that's buyer brokerage, control the client experience. It's a great class, of course, Jimmy Degg presenting it. And he always keeps it relevant. He just did, what class did he just do? The new homes versus the resales. Great information. And again, all up to date, talking about what's going on in today's market, and which he'll do on Monday with the contracts in the buyer brokerage. And controlling the client experience. And we just talked about the clients. And so you can fit the client experience into their age group now. This particular 135-page survey will give you some insight into that. The only other thing I wanted to just briefly mention to everybody today is that, the legislature is meeting, and they have a bill in front of them right now that says before you can evict somebody, you have to go to court. Yeah. I don't know if it's going to pass or not, but it's in front of the legislatures right now, the legislatures. And I think, you know what? I don't know. Our system seems to work. It's not broken. So I don't know why they want to fix it. The eviction process helps everybody, and to flood the courts with evictions, I don't know. I mean, that's not good for the owners, the tenants. I mean, my gosh, I don't know. Maybe the tenants won't do things that get them evicted. I don't know where it's headed, but it does give me. We have a property management business, and my goodness, we don't like evicting people. We really don't. And we really do such a good job of screening people, because that really is the key. If I were to want them to do anything, I would want them to perhaps only let property managers do applications and screen tenants, because of our experience, because we know when we look at applications and we talk to the landlords and we do all the things that we do to make sure that we get good tenants, because tenants can be a time suck, and we don't want our time wasted on people who don't take care of properties, who don't pay their rent on time. So we really scrutinize our tenants, and we follow all the fair housing rules, and there are a lot of good tenants out there. And so if I were to suggest anything to the division, and that is to, instead of letting anybody run an application and anybody do a lease, you have to run an application before you do a lease, and interpreting that and calling the previous landlord and all those things. I mean, someone who's not in property management isn't really getting paid that much to do all those things either. That's the other thing. So I don't see a lot of it, thank goodness. But when I do see it, I think, oh no, oh no, hopefully this doesn't mean trouble. So you all have a great day. It's Wednesday. Looks like the weather's going to maintain itself this week. I will be back Friday. We will do the stats, see where we are. We're holding steady at 425 median price. And I'm going to be quiet now, because I could talk forever about our market. I love you all. Have a great day, and hopefully you'll go to bee.vegas and sign up for our